Fast mai, Miss Maralyn Crellin as bevaliam cyffal cheriw del Shiaght Laa. I'm Maralyn Crellin and I'd like to welcome you to Shiaght Laa. In this edition of Shiaght Laa, when Shiaght Laa yn Shiaght Cach Laa sa Bunscoill Ghaelgagh, a change at the Bunscoill Ghaelgagh, as we hear from the head teacher Julie Matthews on the eve of her retirement. And Yn Chruinnaght feed hyd as Quegas feed, Yn Chruinnaght 2025, which starts this coming Monday. Committee stalwarts Chloe Woolley and Joe Callister tell us about this year's festival. But we start with a musical date for this evening, Thursday the 17th of July. And that's an opportunity to enjoy the singing of the choir musicale. The choir of about 20 voices first got together in 1987, and their conductor is John Riley. Musicale will be performing this evening at 7:30 in St Catherine's Church in Port Erin. There's no admission charge. There'll be a retiring collection and refreshments will be available at the end of the concert. Bimerach les Jerry na blin na scholarach, treduni na scholan rish len Sarah Sowry. Ta Iorn, de raw len Sarah Liaura, rekits on perch in Satara, de nothachad kuna lesh ober erinach Karen Treshen. Na yai, henk the scholan de ve rekits an achshaw, sa noyuk he jeg sonachud smoo. Mishen van a len ek jera, treva fem erwin mura de lai ek tren teruk na blina. As a ramsly a scucher a school vianshire, dus Belgian mura as erdvalgen, red vad govrach ons tie an ovary. Ons de len shinne, va fem imedi slide a huna lesh kirstjach and fower. As rapetchen imidol, die inu elkenen as statachen, nachrau ons femje rowan yat. De noddachan slyezit, farracht and ristatachan ella. Na oddachad goil toshach their cliachtachan na shlyen, viech feme okoru, na sanma ons nan may. Ni ai, tretan na scolan goil toshach their rivlain scholarach, de mo ons main fower, tan na perchen gol ristus a skull, kiad eg a tret an fower gol eg hurstjach. Mishen, gerd a vel na scolan doot rish mushe shachti and fly in tower, te jichen nach vele kindach rish in erinius. The 1872 Education Act established compulsory education for 7 to 13-year-olds and also transferred control of schools to the state. Despite some rumours to the contrary, the Education Act 1872 didn't ban the Manx language. However, validation of schools in the island was by the UK Inspectorate, though AP Graves reports hearing songs sung in Manx when he inspected Ballamother School. Where the Manx language found its way into any school, it was generally on an ad hoc basis, depending on individuals who taught there. However, as we've celebrated in Shiaght Laa on many occasions, in more recent years there's been the Bunscoill Ghaelgagh, which has attracted so much interest throughout the world, perhaps as a curiosity, but also for its very high level of achievement. However, tomorrow sees the final day in post of the head of the Bunscoill Ghaelgagh, Julie Matthews.
Julie Matthews at the end of this academic year. It's a turning point. But what got you into teaching in the first place? How did you come into the teaching profession?
I think a little bit by accident. I wanted to do music at college and I always wanted to teach music. Ended up doing a teaching degree and found myself back on the Isle of Man teaching at Ballasalla to begin with. I wanted to go to Huddersfield, but I hadn't heard from them, but I heard from Lancaster. So I went there and then heard from Huddersfield. They had accepted me, but I was already settled doing my Bachelor of Education. So I stayed where I was, quite happy.
And you were quite fortunate to be able to come straight back to the island then at the end of that.
Yes, at the time they were looking for students to come back to the island as much as possible. So I was put onto the bank. I didn't apply for a specific school and they put me at Ballasalla School. So I was there 7 years with John Martin was the head teacher at that point. Then I went on to Ballaquayle with Pat Wood and then did a couple of years at Peel under Dot Saunders, and then this job came up, so I went for this job, and I've been here ever since.
Of course, you say you've been here, we're here in St John's in the Bunscoill Ghaelgagh, but that's not quite where it started.
No, you're right there. We started off with John Rhodes out at Balacotcha School, and we were there just over a year, I suppose. We were a year and a term, and then we came to St John's School under Nigel Bennett, and he helped us to move up to the old St John's School. It needed a bit of sorting out, and the Department of Education have been brilliant over the years. Bit by bit, they've developed it to the school we have now. It's still an old-fashioned school with small classrooms, but we make the best use of it as we can.
The change from being at Balacotcha then, that was a small beginning, but obviously it's grown immensely since then.
Yes, we had 9 pupils. Myself and Kathy Clucas were the two teaching the children, and we sort of modelled each other. Sort of I'd say something in Manx and she'd act it out, and if she'd say something I'd act it out, because that's the immersion. When you get children who have no idea what you're saying, you have to do a lot of acting and drawing, and so there was a lot of that going on with the 9 children. We were actually very fortunate. We had 2 youngsters with us at the time, Cesar Jochen and Kitty Gorn, who actually had Manx spoken to them in the home, so they helped the children who had no Manx, because they understood what we were saying, so that did help us an awful lot. And we found that over the years, if we can use the pupils as models and to help them, so we never have to speak any English, and sometimes they speak English to each other, but we try and explain as much as we can through the language rather than translating into English.
And when the move came then from being a stream of 9 pupils then, how did it build up here in the Bunscoill Ghaelgagh?
We started with the 2 of us, we grew, and still there were 2 of us. And then I think when we moved up here, we were 27 pupils, and we had Paul Rogers came to join us, and it was gradually getting bigger and bigger. And I think at one point I had reception year 1, year 2, and year 3 for part of the time. And Paul had year 3 and 4, and possibly 5, and we shared the year 3s between us. But eventually we ended up with 4 teachers, 4 classes, so we have reception, then a year 1, year 2 class, a Key Stage 1, a year 3 and 4, and a year 5 and 6 for the Key Stage 2. And it's made it a lot easier for the curriculum and to be able to teach the language, because you can't be dealing with such big numbers when you're trying to teach a language to children.
What are the numbers currently?
We've currently got 62 children, and we're only going to drop 1 next year because there's 1 less coming in than is going out. So 11 leaving and 10 coming in.
You mentioned some of the teaching staff that you worked with. How are they recruited? Where are they coming from?
All the teachers that we've had pretty well have been Manx-speaking teachers or trainee Manx-speaking teachers that we've managed to take on either while they're training or a year after they've finished their training. I've often gone up and spoken to people, have you ever thought about coming to join? So it's been a lot of word of mouth and talking to people rather than just hoping for the best that somebody will apply. I've actually spoken to lots of people who I know speak Manx to see if they're interested, and managed to get people, even Kate Pitts, who was just on the last 2 years, I think 2 or 3 years before retirement, I managed to get her to jump out and come and join us.
Mentioning speaking the Manx language, what was your course into the Manx language? What brought you into that?
I think family, I suppose, as much as anything. I had cousins who lived in England who, because they're in England, I think they wanted to hang on to their roots and things, and they'd been taught a few Manx words, so whenever they came over to the Isle of Man, they would tell me a few Manx words, so I was aware of the language. George Lear, who we used to know, was a great friend of my granddad's, he was a Manx speaker, and he taught me a few words when I was younger. My own grandparents had a few songs they remembered, but it was when I went to Castle Rush, and Mr. Harrison, Bill Harrison, had a Manx club. And so I went along to the Manx Club with Bunadis, and there was a few of us learning Manx there. But where I learnt properly, I think, was with Pat Burgess. When I finished, I tried to do first lessons in Manx when I was a student. I've always been interested in trying to learn Manx, but never really had very much opportunity. I think the opportunities are much better now. I used to go along on a Thursday night and meet lots of old men in a pub. Me and my friend, we were just us 2 young ones, and lots of old men mostly. I think the odd woman was there, but not very many. But yes, it was when I came back and we went to lessons. Phil Gorn, who'd been learning with Brian Stowell, he came along and I went as well. And we used to meet in the middle of the week to speak a bit of Manx. He used to make me say the homework out, and we'd learn some tunes. And so we met up in the White House to play tunes and go to the Manx class, and then we'd have one time in the week where we'd meet up and practice tunes and speaking Manx. But he made me. So I think a lot's down to Phil. But then when I met Chris, who was also a fluent speaker, he helped me along a lot because we decided to bring our children up speaking Manx. I think he'd read an article in Scotland, and so we decided throughout the day we'd speak Manx only. So that's what made me become more fluent. And so with the help of Chris to help boost me along and fill in the gaps where I couldn't remember the words, that's how I became more fluent. And because I was a teacher, when the job came up to be the teacher of the new Manx school, it was ideal. I could just drop in quite nicely.
Ach, de genchit gus gerer, as houchit de vei, de hou, ach, biu te roeg, dat we letten sugar.
Tau ciat hanel mi cyrsos the bolach. Ta mi cyrma enam shees on Munjavega, the cuna egg and Munjavega he seg a skull elia, as ta mi go there and rolla the cuna and skull. Sure, yes, so matad tons femg. Pike the chits shack, red to pike be ching, matad giri pike elia the cuna, ta mi share rolla the chitas poldal, and skull sure, yes, as yes, to be able to Coela, as Crittle, as Gulmac Shul, as the Ram such, the Stu me Rianu, Habby me, Siam, Mahine.
Oh, Julie Matthews, Gurmai Morad is echt wild.
Shay the Bay.
Julie Matthews, whose role as the head of the Bunscoill Ghaelgagh comes to an end with the close of the academic year tomorrow, Friday the 18th of July. Julie has been a vital part of the success of the project from the outset, with a group of 9 children based in Ballycottia School, then for a couple of years in the new St John's Primary School, before the move in 2006 into the former St John's Primary School on the main road, opposite Cronkeelion, Tynwald Hill. Having been established and run under contract for many years by Munjavega, the Bunscoill Ghaelgagh came under the aegis of the Department of Education, Sport and Culture in 2020. As Julie Matthews says, she'll be keeping up a connection with the Bunscoill Ghaelgagh in the future as well. As we mentioned in Shiaght Laa last week, the awards ceremony to present the North American Manx Association silver medals and 2 other awards was held recently, and Shiaght Laa will be celebrating the achievements of the young people who've been recognised for their outstanding contributions to the culture and community of the island in the coming weeks.
However, we do have time to hear the opening of the ceremony by Yn Chruinnaght in Sportus Culture, the Minister for Education, Sport and Culture, Daphne Kane. The ceremony was attended by Yn Chruinnaght, the President of Tynwald, Lawrence Skelly, and Member of the Department for Education, Sport and Culture, Sarah Maltby.
Fast am I? Well, good afternoon everybody, Mr President, ladies and gentlemen, students. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you here today and thank you for attending the North American Manx Awards here today. Now, these awards celebrate the outstanding achievements of young people in various areas of Manx culture, including language, arts and craft, music and folk dance. I would like to extend my thanks to the North American Manx Association for continuing to recognise the achievement of our island's talented young people for another year. All of today's award winners should be extremely proud of your accomplishments. You are a testament to the hard work and passion you've shown for the island's rich culture.
The Minister for Education, Sport and Culture, Daphne Kane.
Ta ceol a rain dance as skinch skeelin nun rudden ta gulla ginu Yn Chruinnaght. Tad curtatnus deslai ta ginuad Jeekanoru na clashtun rau, a Shiaght te de rain master and chovudius. Ni ai, for the Jeekan began jay and chovudius shen, deslai ellen yes. Foddy de vel sly fag and Casolachton as Ann Castleson, rish cushion unsen and gultur as go vudius heden. As Mishen, te salshake de vel ruthen on tashin rain, as fod much cur arum dena Ann Castleson torn, as Ginuerd alia jow. Ger de vel shin law McCown shunen as ad kelchach, hanel shen de gre de vel nen gultur el yassake unsen ach heathen. Mishen ger de vel cushion on tagorische alia, te en sac de agen, en ach ta kjangle canelle, chroep soon acht elie dedach en enjow. Yn Chruinnaght is a festival that gives a platform to Manx performers and invites performers to take part from the other Celtic countries. Two of the committee members of Yn Chruinnaght are Chloe Woolley and Joe Callister, and here they are to give an overview of this year's festival.
Yn Chruinnaght Celtic Gathering is running from the 21st to the 27th of July in Peel, St John's and Douglas. We've got some star acts from our Celtic cousins. We begin the festival with an amazing band from Scotland, Rura. And they're very hot on the festival circuit at the moment, so we're very lucky that we've managed to get them booked. From Cornwall, we've got the Annie Bayliss Band. Annie's a singer-songwriter who's doing very well at the moment, one of the stars of Lorient later this summer. And she's also coming with the Brim Ceilidh Band. And then from Manchester Island, we've got the McGoldrick family. And this is the nieces of Mike McGoldrick, who's from Capercaillie, and they'll be coming over with Jimmy Patrick on guitar and entertaining us during the week. We've also got Rachel Hare and Ron Jappy. Rachel is a Scottish harpist, and she actually teaches harp for Culture Vannon. So she's going to be joined by some of her harp students who are going to perform The Deer's Cry, which is a suite of Manx music that Rachel wrote for the celebration of Archibald Knox. It's 160th anniversary this year. We've got another old friend of the festival coming back. This is Callum Stewart. He's an Uilleann piper from Scotland, and he used to come over in the early days with the Strathspey Fiddlers. So he'll be bringing Sophie Stevenson, who's a step dancer, and his trio. From Wales, we're really, really excited that we've got Avanc, and they are the national folk ensemble of Wales. There's usually about 12 or more of them, but we've got 8 members coming, and they play a whole range of different instruments. They do clog dancing and they sing in Welsh. So they'll be doing several performances while they're here. From even further afield, we've got a duo from Australia with Celtic origins. So the Barley Shakes are Alan and Kristen. Alan's originally from Dublin and Kristen has got Manx roots. So they're going to be doing a few little gigs for us as well on fiddle and guitar and singing. And during the week, we've got loads and loads of Manx acts as well, of course.
So all these various events now, as Chloe said, they're spread round, not just in Peel, but in St John's and in Douglas. So where will people be able to go and enjoy music and dance?
Well, as Chloe said, the festival starts on the Monday. Most of our concerts are held at the Centenary Centre, so our Monday night Rura concert is at the Centenary Centre. You can find out all the information on celticgathering.im, so don't worry if there's too much information right now. Tuesday night we're at the Masonic Hall in Peel, and that's for our now infamous Song Night. We've changed that a little bit this year. We're doing the Song Night until about 10 o'clock, and then we're going to have a little singing session afterwards, which will be quite nice. The Wednesday evening, we are still in the Masonic Hall. We've got our Celtic Myths and Legends Ceilidh, or you could pop up to the Conference of the Gaels at the Centenary Centre. We've got a nice little collaboration with Radio Falch, who are over from Belfast, and they're over for the whole festival, actually. You can go up to that. Thursday night, we are back at the Centenary Centre for the Myths and Legends concert. So if you were lucky enough to be at the Chruinnaght Festival last year, we did a lovely cabaret-style performance, I think. And it worked so well that we're doing a similar format this year. The Friday night, we are having our Mega Manx Ceilidh. So that is a big event. We've got lots of visiting artists over for that. And then Saturday night, we're back at the Centenary Centre. On the Friday night also, you could see Rachel Hare and Ron Jappy. We've got 2 events that night. Nip to the St John's Royal Chapel. Those are the evenings, but during the day, you could go to Noah Bakehouse. So every day between 1 and 2, Noah Bakehouse are kindly supporting our food and folk sessions. So you can have a look on our programme online and find out which Celtic country will be supporting those. From the Tuesday to the Friday, we're at the House of Manannan between 12 and 2 for various workshops and displays. And we've got a black dog oven as well. We've got lots on there about sort of tea time. But really, have a look at the programme because our Festival Friends initiative has took off as well. So we've got lots of little pop-up events happening all over Peel. So you can really take your pick. We've changed the programme this year as well, the printed programme. You can open the programme and each day has its own dedicated double page. So we're really thankful to Collaborate, who's done that for us. So it should be really nice and clear, which is good because we are aware that we are doing a lot. But as part of the programme as well, this year we have got a pull-out section in the middle, and that is your entry form for the 2025 Yn Chruinnaght craft, produce and confectionery competitions. So in a change from our programmed or normal artisan fair in the Corran Hall in Peel, we are running some competitions based on the 1925 schedule, the Chruinnaght Vananach a Shunach programme. So we've got a set of classes that are pulled directly from there. You might want to knit a ganzi as worn by a fisherman or make some coconut ice. And then we've got another little set of competitions that we've put together for 2025. Our judges are Sue Woolley and Adam Horn, so we're thankful to Digital Group for sponsoring that. But that should be a real good bit of fun. All the information's in there, the entry form and everything, and that'll be on the website.
During the week, we've got quite a few workshops going on, mainly sponsored by Soundcheck Charity for youth. So we've got Avank doing some masterclasses. We've got fiddle, harp, guitar and whistle, which will be aimed at young people of intermediate level. Every day at the House of Manannan, between 12 and 2, we're going to have workshops in various things. We've got a beginner harmonica workshop. So if you have a C diatonic harmonica, bring that along and you'll get some top tips. We're going to have beginners penny whistle classes. Laura Rolls from Mannan Music is going to deliver those, all free of charge. You can bring your whistle, you can buy one from Mannan Music. We'll have some Cornish dance workshops. We've also got the illustrator and author of Ashlis Aylan, who are going to do an illustration workshop based on the lovely new book of Manx folklore. So there will be a presence on one of those days. We've got lots of fringe events going on as well. So Juliet's in Michael Street in Peel. She's doing a special biscuit baking workshop, which will be Manx oriented. During the evenings, we'll have sessions going on. Of course, the White House is the popular place to go after Centenary Centre concerts. We've also got some early evening sessions at Miller's Tale. So there'll be lots and lots of things going on all around Peel. We've also linked up with Peel Sea Fest. So we've got some performers in the Sailing Club on the Friday and Saturday. And we're collaborating with the Sailors Shelter for their summer concert on the Wednesday as well. So there's absolutely tons going on. A lot of it's free of charge and a lot of it's showcasing all our Manx acts. We've got lots of great groups happening at the moment. We've got Tree Nakier, Shmunyak Mai, Scran, Skeddenjerg, Payburn Egg, loads and loads of great Manx acts that will be scattered throughout the week.
So yeah, as usual, we are very grateful to all our sponsors, in particular Culture Vannin and the Arts Council and the Domestic Event Fund. But we've got many more sponsors. They're all listed on our programme and on the website. And no matter how big or how small, really, we couldn't do it without all them. So good am I more yows.
Joe Callister and Chloe Woolley, members of the organising committee of Yn Chruinnaght, running from next Monday the 21st of July through to Sunday the 27th of July. So we'll give you a reminder of events going into the weekend in Shiaght Laa next time. Some other musical events for your diary now. The Isle of Man Arts Council's series of Wurlitzer organ concerts continues next Wednesday lunchtime. So that's Wednesday the 23rd of July, starting at 1 o'clock in the Villa Marina Arcade, which is the home to the Isle of Man Arts Council and also to the 1929 Wurlitzer organ. Next Wednesday, the concert is being given by David Redfern of Belper in Derbyshire, where he has his own Wurlitzer in what he calls the organ loft. David has been playing theatre organs since the age of 13 and has won awards and held prestigious offices in association with his playing. And David Redfern will be playing the Wurlitzer organ in the Villa Marina Arcade next Wednesday, the 23rd of July, between 1 and 2 o'clock. All are very welcome and there's no charge for admission. In the evening of Wednesday, the 23rd of July, St Thomas's Church in Douglas presents the Castletown Metropolitan Silver Band, and their conductor is John Collins. The concert starts at 7:45. There's no admission charge. There'll be a retiring collection and refreshments will be available at the end of the concert. As to Shen Curleshin does Yn Chruinnaght Shiaght Laa. That's all from Shiaght Laa this time. So from me, Mishen Vaughan, Maralyn Crellin, Sledden you,